So, full disclosure, I really like Steven Universe. I really like this show. And I'm confident I'm not the only one. Since it premiered on Cartoon Network in 2013, the Steven Universe fandom has grown significantly and is now kind of everywhere and really vocal. I mean, even on YouTube, you can find hundreds of in-depth theory videos exploring the show's secrets. And you don't even need to wait for any intimate or romantic feelings to transpire between the characters because the fans already have that covered. Personally though, while I wouldn't consider myself a die-hard fan, the show's ability to make the characters so layered is what keeps me tuned in. The characters on Steven Universe aren't just one-dimensional, but are conflicted and complex, and deal with very real, very human issues.
It's sad and funny.
By far my favorite character, and the epitome of the show's emotional complexity, is Lapis Lazuli. Through her character arc, Lapis has demonstrated immense physical, mental, and emotional transformation. Ultimately, I think Lapis reflects a person's experience with trauma and healing. In doing research for this video, I found a ton of examples I could draw on for Lapis's transition through trauma. Then I noticed that one symbol of her character's emotional and physical transformation was staring me in the face the entire time. Lapis's hair. Her hair is one of the best indications of her transformation from trauma to healing. I think it's perfect because it manages to be both obvious and simultaneously subtle. Her hair has changed from a neat and manicured look to a more unkempt appearance, and it's the latter image that ultimately symbolizes patience and freedom as Lapis's approach to healing. But what exactly is she healing from? Lapis's character arc is filled with traumatic events, but what's interesting is that the type of trauma she experiences isn't singular, it varies. Lapis has experience with physical trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, and interpersonal trauma. When we first meet Lapis, her gemstone has a large fracture running down it. We eventually find out that her gem was cracked after she was imprisoned in a mirror thousands of years ago when she arrived on Earth during the war between Homeworld Gems, who want to destroy the planet, and the Crystal Gems, who sworn to protect it. The crack on Lapis's gem is significant because a gemstone, like a human brain, is like a vital organ for these magical beings. Their consciousness and physical forms are both generated from the gem.
My appearance is just a conscious manifestation of light.
If the gem is damaged, it disrupts their ability to function properly and affects their physical appearance. This is similar to the effects of severe brain trauma, which can cause anything from slurred speech to blurred vision to limited motor skills. It isn't until the crack on Lapis's gem is healed that her reflective vision is corrected and she is finally able to access her ability to fly, which allows her to leave Earth to return to her home.
Thank you, Steven.
No prob, Bob. It's Lapis.
Although her physical trauma is healed, she still suffers from symptoms related to post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD is a disorder that occurs when the memory of a traumatic event warps the way a victim of that event perceives and interacts with the world around them. Neuroscientists have determined that there's a distinction in a person's mental functioning between the human intelligent brain and the primitive animal brain. It's this primitive function that gives way to the PTSD symptoms after a traumatic event. Although the rational part of your brain can recognize that you're no longer subject to any danger, your primitive brain, which reacts faster and is more suited for survival, sees stimuli that resembles the danger you faced, and dictates a response that prioritizes fear and survival over rationale and understanding.
Lapis?
Find it!
What?
You must be inside.
Wait,
Lapis,
Lapis!
it's just a screen! Stop! Step aside, Peridot. I have to free him.
Lapis, no!
I'll save you, Steven. I'll save you like you saved me.
Calm down. Wait, stop! I'm fine.
Through her arc, Lapis has been imprisoned a total of 3 times. And although her character isn't in any current danger, she still has overstimulated and adverse responses to triggers that remind her of when she was incapable of exercising her own freedom. Her past experiences still inform her current behavior. This informed behavior also stems from a more interpersonal trauma. Interpersonal traumas originate from atypical events that happen in person-to-person relationships. This is why Lapis's relationship with the character Jasper is so important to her arc. After Lapis was able to escape Earth and return to her home, Jasper imprisoned her a second time and forced her to return to the planet in an effort to destroy the crystal gems. Jasper and Lapis eventually fuse with each other, and it's when they form Malachite that Lapis reveals that she only fused with Jasper so she could finally have a prisoner of her own, even if that means she has to become a prisoner again herself.
What are you doing?
I'm done being everyone's prisoner. Now you're my prisoner, and I'm never letting you go!
In her book, The Reproduction of Evil, Dr. Sue Grand conceptualizes how some victims of trauma become perpetrators, inflicting pain and suffering on others because of something she calls catastrophic loneliness. According to Dr. Grand, the victim of a traumatic event experiences the death of their former identity. They're incapable of truly sharing their feelings about this trauma because so much of their new identity remains in that traumatic moment where they were completely alone in experiencing the death of their old self. It's a form of death without dying. The victim is then constantly confronted with the need to be truly seen and understood by those around them, while simultaneously wanting to stay hidden. This need to stay hidden is always present because loneliness is such a large part of their new identity, and without it, they risk witnessing the loss of another version of themselves. Lapis embraces the role of the perpetrator when she imprisons herself with Jasper at the bottom of the sea. It's in this aquatic prison that Lapis reveals a side of herself by subjecting Jasper to the same pain and abuse she suffered. Lapis is finally able to penetrate her catastrophic loneliness and communicate her pain by causing the pain of another. In her toxic relationship with Jasper, Lapis is both victim and perpetrator. Her trauma can finally be understood, but at a cost.
I've seen what you're capable of. I thought I was a brute, but you're a monster.
I was terrible to you. I liked taking everything out on you. I needed to. I hated you. It was bad.
After the fusion between Lapis and Jasper is broken, Lapis is recovered by the crystal gems and is finally able to begin her process of healing. It's in this part of her character arc that we see her relationship with those around her transform and improve, and she even decides to remain on Earth, a planet she formerly associated with danger and fear. Perhaps what's most interesting though is that this is also the point in which Lapis's hair begins to speak to her healing transformation. Lapis's bedhead is a device used to convey her depression. Depression is known to cause altered sleeping habits and is also a symptom of PTSD. Though her species don't need to sleep,
All right. I'm sleeping now. I'm sleeping.
You can't talk while you sleep.
How's this even supposed to work?
the combination of her physical and emotional distress is enough to require her to rest often. Although she is experiencing depression, I would still argue that she's in a state of healing. Now she's able to rest and be leisurely in a way she wasn't able to when she was a prisoner. She doesn't seem to be in a rush to explore her new home planet, or join the Crystal Gems on missions. She's finally able to do what she wants, when she wants, and is even free to look how she wants. This is why Lapis's hair is an amazing device for conveying her healing. This complexity makes Lapis's character so layered and contributes to the genius of Steven Universe and its ability to have such relatable characters. And just like looking in a mirror, when we look at these characters, we can hopefully understand more about ourselves.
She was trapped in a mirror and it couldn't be clearer. She wanted to leave this place and get herself back in space. And Dad, you might think she's a criminal, but her friendship comes through subliminal. Lapis lazuli, you fled into the bottom